Well, here they are, guys. These are the new Ghostface Scream 7 boots that will be used in the upcoming new film. So today I'm going to show you what these look like a little closer and compare them to the Scream 6 boots I already have, and talk about a few other little things and updates with Scream. So let's get into it. Alright guys, so here is a look at the new boots. I'll just hold them up to the camera a little bit here and I'll give you some closer shots as well. You can see they sort of have this strap, this buckle on the side. Dr. Martens again, you know, just like before, the soles are pretty much the same. But that's generally how they look. So I recently saw a few people covering these, and you know, there were some pictures that surfaced showing Ghostface wearing that boot. You could tell the pattern and everything matched up, so we finally had some confirmation that that was the actual boot. Now, the reason I have them already is not because, well, this news came out, you know, I don't know, probably 4 or 5 days ago or so, but there are some people that already have them in their possession, so they probably went out to Amazon to get them, or, you know, whatever. The thing is, I have the Combs 2. The Combs 2 were the boot, if you look over here, hold on a second. The Combs 2 look like this, and I picked these up back in September, it was. Okay, so I ended up getting my boots much earlier because there was a guy that had posted, and I'm gonna see if I can find it, and if I do, I'll flip to a picture of this so you can see the name. But this fellow posted on Facebook saying that these boots could potentially be Ghostface's new boots. And I saw them and immediately recognized them, you know, as looking quite a bit like the Combs 2, which were the, you know, the Doc Martens that were used in Scream 6. And yeah, I thought, okay, you know, I took it with a grain of salt at first, and a friend of mine, well, I guess I could say sort of an online friend who made the Scream 1996 Ghostface costume for me, John Gritton. You know, I don't know him personally or anything. I'm just saying, you know, we're friendly online and stuff, and we've done business, and I've asked him all sorts of questions, and he's helped me a lot. Anyway, he had, excuse me, posted on this asking about a source, and I was basically doing the same, and I never did hear anything about it, but I did look for them, you know, just to see in case they were the actual boots. So the thing is, with many of you guys in like the whole collectible game like I am, or you like cosplaying and stuff, you will know that if you're trying to get something that's, you know, the same as what was used in the film, as soon as word gets out, they disappear, right? Like, usually most sets seem to use, I shouldn't say sets, I don't know, like wardrobe, whatever you want to call it, they tend to use stuff that is sort of more limited, and it's not something that's as mass produced. I mean, not always, but I think you see that more often than not. But anyway, basically that's what happened with the, you know, the Arctivates for the 2018 Michael Myers boots. Those are super hard to find, you know. That's just an example. The work rate coveralls, even, you know, they all of a sudden were getting pulled, and, you know, they were limited, and that was going to be the end of them not too long after the film came out. So that's why I jumped on a bunch of pairs originally, you know, so I could do my other ones with the real deal look. Anyway, everything basically disappears like that, and it was the same thing with the Scream 6 boots. Like, I got those Scream 6 boots like shortly after the film came out, and it was confirmed what he had on his feet. and I jumped on them pretty much right away. And not long after, I found they started to disappear, and now they're really hard to find. You know, so as soon as I saw that message about the 7s, I saw the boots. They look a lot like the 6s, and they look really cool. I was like, they're great looking boots. So, you know, that made it easy. I was like, all right, well, I could use boots, and I did get a good price, so I went ahead and pulled the trigger and you know, grabbed a pair. And I'm glad I did, you know, very cool. One of the guys that I watch on YouTube, and I'm sure a lot of you do as well, is Cosplay Chris. So that's Chris Stanley Productions. He's got a few channels, and you know, excuse me, Insta and whatnot. He's one of the, I'm sure you guys know who I'm talking about. He's really an awesome guy. So anyway, Chris did a video on these boots recently, and he essentially was saying it's virtually the same as the Scream 6 boot, only it has this strap on it, you know, this sort of buckle thing. And he made a funny Simpsons reference to the Lisa Simpson Malibu Stacy hat accessory thing. Right? Oh, it's got a strap on it, I want it, right? It was pretty funny. But seriously though, it actually is quite different. At first glance, you'd think it's the same, because it's the same kind of a boot. Like it's a tech boot. They call it, what is it here? Yeah, it's the Combs Tech. Yeah, Combs Tech, poly ripstop. That's all it is, you know. Anyway, the other ones were called the Combs Tech 2, you know. So it is essentially the same kind of boot, but the design is actually way different. Like here, I'll show you the Scream 6 boot. So here's the Scream 6 boot. It looks essentially the same at first glance. It's got the same kind of material. It's, you know, it's got the same soles as the other one. You know, they look pretty much the same. But if you look a little closer, you'll see the front of the Scream 6 boot looks like a regular boot. You know what I mean? Like that looks like an actual boot. It's leather all the way around. It doesn't have the, you know, the seam around the front that the 6 does. If you look here, look at the front of that boot. It has more. It has that sew line like a you know, like a running shoe or a sneaker or whatever, right? So that is quite different. And then if you look at the side, like look at the side design. I mean, it's totally different. You have all this cutout design here. You know, you have a cutout here, you have this cutout like this, leather here. You know, the back sort of meets like that, crisscrosses. Like, I mean, look at how different this looks. This is literally just a little bit over the back heel, and it's all this same fabric, more or less, you know. As well as the, you know, the air wear here is right down the back of the heel, as opposed to just the tag up top, you know. So I mean, at first glance, sure, they do look kind of the same, but they are actually quite different. There's big time detail differences. And I think Chris would completely agree if he saw them in person, because that guy is a very detailed guy, and he's done some of the best cosplays I've ever seen in my life. Super inspiring guy to watch. But yeah, I just wanted to show how different they actually are. I'll show you a couple more shots of them side by side here, just to give you an idea, you know, a little bit closer up of what I'm talking about, if you can't see it on the camera from here. So there's a look at the Combs 2 from Scream 6. And with the strap on top, that is the Combs Tech from Scream 7. So they definitely do look similar, but quite a different pattern going on with the design. The back is clearly quite a bit different as well. The soles are pretty much the same, and the overall design is certainly there, but you can see some pretty significant differences between the two if you look a little closer. So yeah, the Combs 2 again, right here. This is the box as well. It was a little bit crushed when I got it actually back then. And funny story, these are actually only 11s. I normally wear a size 12. My foot is actually, it's more like, it's about an 11 and a half when I get it measured for a shoe size. So I usually go with 12, and in most cases it's perfect, you know. I have a fairly wide foot, so I do tend to do better with a larger size. But the funny story with the Combs 2 for Scream 6, when I went to get these, I was going to get a size 12. But the size 12, believe it or not, just with the way Amazon was and availability and stuff, the 11s were $100 cheaper than the 12s. $100. And me being a little cheap. And wanted to roll the dice, because I do have a pair of shoes that are 11 that fit me. I mean, my toes are literally touching the end, but they're not like super scrunched or anything, but they are touching the end. So they're a little bit tight, but they're still wearable. They're Jackass Chuck Taylors. There's like a edition that has the little skull and crossbones on the side. The skull and crutches on the side, I guess. Anyway, they are 11, so I thought I would try it. And luckily, they do just fit, and my toes are right to the very end, you know, without scrunching. But they're touching, but it's not like uncomfortable. It's just so borderline. I wish they were a touch bigger, but they don't hurt to wear, and I don't have to scrunch my feet, so I think it was worth saving the $100. Holy crap. Anyway, these are really hard to find now. You can't really get them much anymore, but that's the Combs 2. Combs 2. Element, poly. Yeah, they're basically the same deal as the new ones in Scream 7. And then the Combs stack right there. That would be these. Yeah, very cool boots. So I was kind of looking forward to just wearing them a little more for the hell of it, but now that I know they're the right ones, I'm just going to keep them pretty clean and ready for cosplaying when needed. So besides the boots, the mask for Scream 7 has also been confirmed. They actually used a 2024 EU mask. So pretty simple mask. It looks like they did a little light spraying to it, making it kind of grayish, or almost like it has a little bit of soot on it or something. People are speculating from the fire scene in the trailer, you know, burn it all down or whatever, right? Anyway, so it does look a little different that way. But it had been confirmed that it's apparently a 2024 EU. There's rumors it was, you know, an April to June mask. I think it's a big stamp. Or there are shots that you can tell it's a big stamp versus the regular, or maybe both of them are used in there or something. I don't know, but it has been confirmed at least that it's a 2024 EU, and it looks to have some brushing on it, you know, or some touching up to make it look a little bit darker, a little bit more gray. So that was kind of interesting news. And speaking of masks, actually, there has been a recent announcement that Fun World is going to be producing a 30th anniversary Ghostface mask. Now, I'm sure a lot of you have already heard about this, because this is news that came out probably a couple weeks back now, I think. Anyway, it had been announced, I guess, on Nate Reagan, or Reagan. I'm not sure how to pronounce his name, but he's got a YouTube channel. It's really good, actually. I just recently found it out of the blue and subscribe to him. I'll put a link in the description so you can find him if need be, but he interviewed RJ from Fun World, and he basically gave details on this mask. The 30th anniversary, they're going to do a mask that is virtually copying the original Gen 1 Fantastic Faces mask. So they don't have the molds apparently anymore or anything. As far as I know, they're either destroyed or they're gone. But they're apparently going to try to replicate it with the imperfections as well as they can. It's supposed to release sometime, probably in October. He also said that it looks like the shrouds on them are going to be like a 25th anniversary style, I believe, with a sparkle robe, I guess you could say, or the one that looks sort of like the metallic real deal Lurex, but it's not Lurex, but you know what I mean. That's what they're saying, and I think, you know, a lot of the hardcore fans like us that have always wanted fantastic faces would really appreciate like a cotton shroud, like the standard kind they had back then, to really bring back that nostalgia. But I get, from a business standpoint, you're going to want to put it in a 25th anniversary style hood, because, you know, people are going to buy that. Certainly more of the mainstream fans are going to buy something like that before they're going to buy a, you know, the plain Jane shroud. But he did mention they may release one, maybe after, that's cotton as well, you know. But I believe for now it looks like it's probably going to be on the full shroud kind of thing. So I know some people would be a little bummed about that. I've also been seeing some crazy comments here and there, like with the Scream industry and everything, and Gen 1's going for stupid money. You know, like there's some that are selling for like $800, $600, sometimes more, which is insane. Because I mean, like I've had, like, this is a Fearsome Faces here. This is a glow in the dark that I bought in 1997. Came with that purple tag with the, you know, glow in the dark, you know, Scream face on it. So anyway, when I found that mask, I was super stoked because I had always wanted that Ghostface mask from the original film. I thought, like, how do you get that? Where do you find that? It's so cool, right? I thought it was really, really cool. And I had never seen it, you know, and they'd been out since '92. But I mean, I live in Canada, and I've never seen any of those kind of masks before. So I was constantly looking out for them. And one day, not long after the film was out, so this is early '97, I found this mask hanging on a display. And as you can see, it has a, you know, it has like a poly shroud that's kind of like a Scream mask, and it looks like some kind of weird half-ass attempt at one, or, you know, some kind of ugly cousin or something, right? And I bought it just because it reminded me a little bit of it, even though I knew it wasn't anywhere near. But it's a mask I've kept all these years too. But what's funny is a few months after that, I found this, you know, Fearsome Faces one with the tag, and it had the ghost face, glow in the dark, it says on it, right? And I'm looking at it going, holy shit, that's the one from Scream. I gotta buy one of those. That's so cool. So I bought it right away and was happy to have it. And not long after that, I mean, it may have been weeks, you know, or it may have been a month or more, but not long after, I bought the first Scream Ghostface costume that was available from Fun World, with the, you know, with the triangular serrated sleeves and the stupid belt. But it came with a bib mask that was a Gen 2, which is actually this one here in the middle. That was a bib mask that I converted. I actually did a video a few years back of me re-shrouding the mask, and it turned out really nice. And I usually use that one because the way I converted it, it doesn't have the tassels on the front. I usually use that for the cosplays because I really like the look of that Gen 2 design. I think it was the nicest looking because it has the original look, but it seems to hold the mold shape a little better. I don't know if the vinyl's better. Like with my vinyl one here, the Fearsome Faces, I can hold it up and the chin stays straight up. You know, like it's firm. And that Fearsome, I've never been able to get a clear answer on whether it's a Gen 1 or a 2, because it doesn't seem to have, you know, it's not a multi-dot for sure. It could be a second dimple, maybe. It's a little close, and the micro dot, it doesn't seem like it's quite there either. Which would tell me it's probably like a really early Gen 2, maybe. But I know Father Death 420 back on Instagram had originally looked at some photos and said that it was a Gen 1 in his opinion. But I mean, it's a poly hood, and I know those were pretty much, they were definitely not earlier than 96 as far as I know. And like I said, I got that in 97. So I really don't know, but it's a poly hood, so That's another reason why it might more likely be a Gen 2. It's a really nice mold. Like, it's a beautiful looking mask. It doesn't have any flaws in it or anything. It doesn't have any weird discoloration. It still glows in the dark. Like, it's a miracle I've kept that in such good shape. I kept all my Halloween stuff usually in boxes, you know, in the dark basically. And it's pretty dry in here, you know, it's not a humid place at all, and you know, there's no sunlight or anything on it, so every time I took it out, it always looked great. And you know, when Scream started to get popular again, I took it out and was really looking at it, and that's when I realized, you know, what I had, these Fun World Div Gen 1/2 masks, I guess Gen 2 masks, whatever you want to call it, or maybe late Gen 1 poly, possibly. I don't know. Either way, it doesn't matter in terms of value for me, because it's not like I'm going to sell it. It's one of those rare wins, you know, how you have something like when you're a kid or when you're younger that's you wish you had now because it's worth a lot of money, or it's really, really rare, and you just, you know, you lost track of it, you threw it away, your mom threw it away, or who knows. Like, this is a total reverse thing where it's like, I could have lost it, and you know, it could have been one of those stories, but I actually kept the damn thing and kept it in great shape, and it just worked out that it's worth way more than what I paid for it. I'm sure I didn't even pay 20 bucks for that brand new. So with these 30th anniversary masks, I'm really hoping they look like the, you know, the original Fantastic Faces, because I've never had one. Anyway, point being, I'm excited for it. I think it's going to be awesome. I've seen a few kooky comments online here and there from some people who are like, I get that people are pissed that like Gen 1s and stuff, like original shit, goes for huge money, and I get that, because it's like, what are we doing here? I'm seeing these funny comments online that, you know, people are saying stuff like, oh, you just don't want a 30th anniversary to come out looking like the original design that'll make yours so much more worthless because you're charging hundreds and hundreds of dollars for these masks, and you know, and I read that stuff and I'm just like, you know, he clearly doesn't grasp the situation at all, right? Like, number one, if they are going to copy the Fantastic Faces design as best they can and replicate the imperfections and all the rest of it, I highly doubt it is going to be so identical that it's going to have the identical chin stamp on it. Like, you know, that's not going to happen. It's probably going to have a different kind of chin stamp underneath it, but it's going to have the shape and the look of the original. That's what everybody wants. But it's not going to be an original, you know what I mean? So the originals are still going to be the most sought after because they were the ones used in the film. It's just how it works. And anybody that knows anything about collecting and stuff knows this. Like, it's not going to drop the value. What it's going to do is it's going to allow a lot more cosplayers, essentially, or people wanting to wear the costume, to look a lot more accurate, a lot cooler, like Ghostface looks in the movies. It'll be easier to do for a lot less money for a much broader audience. So that's cool. Because, you know, me as a cosplayer, and I like my stuff to look as film accurate as I can get. That's the ultimate end goal with all of my cosplays, really. You know, and sometimes it takes years and years to get it right. You know, a lot of them are works in progress, you know. But I do like seeing a good cosplay. So anyway, that's pretty much it for the Scream stuff. I was going to also mention that there was an announcement not too long ago with Halloween the Game. They announced the 5 characters, and they released this picture here. So these are the 5 characters in Halloween the Game that they have recently shown us here. They are Thomas, Jennifer, Tanya, Rachel, and Marcus. I don't know if that's Tanya or Tanya. I'm not really sure there. But anyway, that's the names. They got first and last names. They got full profiles, background stories, all sorts of stuff. But apparently they're all tied in some way to, like, or some of them anyway, are tied to the Strode family. Which is, you know, in my opinion, that all but guarantees Laurie's involvement. So I would imagine it is very likely that you're going to see Laurie Strode in this game after all. We already know Dr. Loomis is in it and stuff, but I just thought that was some interesting news I wanted to throw in there that's recent. Lastly, they also released another Scream 7 poster. I don't know if you saw it, but it was sort of an homage to the original Texas Chainsaw Massacre in 1974. Very, very cool looking poster. This is a look at it here. And if you look really closely, you'll see Ghostface is actually wearing those Dr. Martin Combs boots. You see the trim around the toe. So that was another bit of a giveaway as well, because that's an official, poster. Hey guys, okay, funny story about that video you just watched. The camera actually died before I was quite finished, so I guess I was rambling a little longer than I thought. And long story short, I thought I lost everything. By the time I got power back to the camera, I didn't see anything on there. Yeah, I just, I thought, oh crap, like I just put all this footage together and now I have to completely reshoot it. It was late, and here I am 2 days later. I was going to just reshoot it all now. But for some reason I decided to check, and sure enough, the footage is there, all but pretty much the ending. So that's what I'm here to do now. I'm here to basically sign off and say the camera died originally, and I should have had this video to you a couple of days ago with this cool Scream news and stuff. But anyway, that is why there's a little bit of a delay. So I wanted to take a minute to thank you guys for watching. As always, I do appreciate it. And my next coming up videos, I have some pickups to show you guys, as well as a few Christmas gifts and stuff that trickled in a little bit late that were some cool collectibles. So I'll probably be doing that in the next video. But until then, thank you as always for watching. I appreciate it, and we'll see you again for another one. Take care, guys.